Welcome into the Bluegrass Burnouts YouTube channel. Today, Cody and I are going to be going over the Auto Trader 400 at Atlanta. Cody, interesting day, just in general. We got to watch the USA win a gold medal in men's hockey for
Yes,
the first time
sir.
in 46 years on George Washington's birthday, too,
Oh
and
yeah.
on the 46-year anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. It was awesome, but we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about NASCAR. We did get to see racing at one of, if not the most exciting track on the calendar as well, and it was just as much fun watching them both. So, Cody, let's just start with this. No qualifying because of the weather that we had earlier. It did affect the truck race as well, with it being a
Yep.
timed race. But we did not have any qualifying, so the pole sitter was Tyler Reddick because he won the Daytona 500.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. Like, this is a situation that we've had happen many times. It's not like this is something new, but I don't know. It's hard to say how much it truly would have impacted it, but obviously, you don't have practice and then qualifying gets canceled. These teams have literally not been in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So all you have to rely on, all you have to go on is either, the people that ran races in other series, which that doesn't translate completely. It's just being in car on track. Um, but just it makes the race so difficult for these teams. But from a viewer perspective, it makes it so interesting. So I'm not mad about it. Obviously, there's nothing we can do. Rain's gonna rain. It's NASCAR and Mother Nature. They just don't mix. Um, but it's at the end of the day, I think it was something that kind of added a plot point, especially during the race of these teams have literally not been in the car. No one knows what's going on. Like literally anyone from this field could have the best car and we would have no idea.
Yeah.
So it adds another level to it, but from a team perspective, I can understand that that's how that could be super frustrating to just literally not be able to get in the car, kind of have to go about it. But I think everyone handled it pretty well. I didn't see any like massive issues stemming from that. Everyone seemed to be able to get their stuff going and everyone seemed like they came ready. There weren't a lot of snagglers at the back. There was everyone seemed like pretty together, obviously until accidents started happening. But it was, some people are like, oh well, what's the point of not having practice? What's the point of then qualifying gets canceled? They haven't been on track. But at the end of the day, I do think it helped give a plot point to the race, and also, like I said, from a viewer perspective, it's just more interesting.
Yeah, it definitely made it more interesting. One thing from a racing and viewer perspective as well is that it allowed guys who ran really well at Daytona, who you might not see up at the front, be able to be up at the front for a while. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Zane Smith, Riley Herbst, those were guys that were running in the top 15 for most of that first stage, at least until pit stops started. And you never know; they might not have been up there if we had to qualify. You never know.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Speaking of guys who did get some time under their tires, let's talk about Carson Hocevar, Cody. Guys in the truck race looks really well. Kyle Busch as well. He ended up winning that race, but
Yeah,
Carson
he did.
Hocevar was there. He did run a lot of laps, but he did not have the best day in the Cup car.
Uh, Man, it was really, I use this word a lot, obviously, but interesting is really just all that sums up Carson Hocevar's weekend. Like you said, you get out there, you get in the truck race. He's running a Spire truck, and they have some pretty darn good trucks. So you get out there, you're working with Kyle Busch, you end up getting that 1-2 finish in a race where he was talking about how he was running 5 degrees hotter than was supposed to be max heat with that truck and was able to push it all the way to a second place finish. So you start off the week on that high note and then you move on. You look to Cup and it looks really fast. He's having a good day. And then boom, it all turns around in an instant. And, for some guys, that would be the end. But this is a big part of how I was talking about how there weren't a lot of stragglers during this race. Everyone was able to mostly stay on the lead lap the entire time. So Hocevar, you have that tire go down, you get in that, you have to pit. I think they said he actually missed the entrance to pit road the first time around, so he had to go around twice. And then, you go those 2 laps down and was able to get it back in almost no time.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we'll talk about what happened towards the end of the race later on. But for Carson Hocevar, what a roller coaster of a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, just absolutely insane. But yet again, kind of hammering this point home for this weekend, made it so interesting to watch as a viewer. So, I'm a Carson Hocevar fan. I don't like seeing him have issues and struggle, or, hate to see that happen for him. But with the recovery that he made during that race and being able to like focus on the guy coming from behind, it's God, it was just so fun to watch, and he nailed it. He didn't step back. He didn't, it's over. He continued to push forward, got himself back to a point where he's contended for a win, and it was just incredible to watch.
Yeah, speaking of incredible to watch, man, I mean, when he was just pulling that outside line,
Oh
when he was
God,
down a
man.
lap. I mean, they even said it on the broadcast. Like, well, he's got fresher tires than everybody else in the field.
Yep.
He pretty much got that first lap back in no time. And now he is pulling this outside line of mostly Chevy guys in
Yep.
front of Joey Logano and all those other guys that were up front because he just could. You knew
And they
his
were
tires were better.
flying.
They were
Absolutely flying. They
absolutely
got
flying.
almost like 4 or 5 car lengths in front at one point. And obviously Atlanta's a big momentum track. Like, this is a big part of how big part of how that race is going to play out. So he ended up kind of dropping back, and they weren't able to maintain that long term, but seeing them be able to do that even a little bit was super impressive.
Yeah.
Because when you have like a drafting style race, sometimes people are like, oh, well, tires don't matter. Or all it's about is having enough fuel. And in some cases, that can be true. We saw in the truck race, Ben Rhodes went out, took a 2-tire stop, and was leading the field on just 2 tires. And obviously, he ended up running out of gas, because of the 2-tire stop, and that kind of messed up his race. And just to kind of touch on that while I'm talking about it, Ben Rhodes had an incredible race at Atlanta. I don't know if you watched the truck
I
race.
did. I watched a little bit of it. No, I watched the end of it.
I had it on during the Coastal basketball game this weekend, and man, commanded the field. Didn't win any of the stages because it seemed like every time they got to the end of the stage, the guys behind him would have the momentum and be able to make that run. But he was bad fast. Second stage was leading in the second stage. Runs out of gas with about 2 laps to go. You got to come down, get fuel. You go a lap down, and was able to get his lap back and then proceed to go. I swear to God, went from like 25th to 4th in like 10 laps. He was flying back there. So just quick shout out, Louisville native Ben Rhodes. Absolutely incredible race this weekend. Didn't get the win, but it's nice to see him show some speed.
Speaking of somebody who got a win this weekend,
Who did? Yeah.
Sheldon Creed.
Yes,
Sheldon
he did.
Creed.
My boy, dude, I'm so happy for him, man.
Yeah, very happy.
So
for
happy
Sheldon.
for him. And
Very happy for him.
if you're going to talk about that race, you do got to talk about the finish there. And I've seen a lot of, it's Austin Hill, it's Ross Chastain. So these are a lot of guys that have a lot of naysayers about what they're going to do. But I want to just throw this out there. Austin Hill has to throw that block.
He does.
However, Ross Chastain has to take that run to the bottom, and you're not lifting. You're
Yeah,
not.
100%.
Last lap of the race, you are not lifting. I don't care what the outcome is. If I have a run, I'm going to the bottom, and I'm not lifting just because you're going to cut me off.
Until I see God or the checkered flag.
Like, and this is a big thing for me with Austin Hill. It seems like he defers blame a lot. Anytime something happens, it's either not his fault, or if he did something, it's really not his fault. Because anytime someone complains about something he's done, it's like, oh, well, this was right. I did the right thing. And in some cases, absolutely true. But like that, remember that 2-week stretch where he was just like wrecking people?
Yeah.
And he was defending it, and people were like, this is genuinely some of the worst stuff I've ever seen. Like, Austin Hill, he's not a bad race car driver. He can get a win. But another time where it's just a racing incident, and then he goes out there and acts like Ross can't drive. He's like, I don't know if I ever want to race Ross again. Like I get it, the frustration, all that, but it's a racing incident. Calm down. But overall, nothing else really matters. Xfinity, Sheldon Creed, sorry, O'Reilly. We're working on it. Sheldon Creed gets the win, and I could not be happier for him. He absolutely earned it. And what
Oh
a way
yeah.
to get it too. One of the ones where he wasn't really being talked about. He was running up front like all day. Just wasn't really getting talked about, just kind of lingering in the back. Not front running, but running close enough to where you knew could be a threat.
Yeah.
And all it takes is one incident, you're good. To the
Yep.
green, baby. To the
Oh
oh,
yeah. So back into the excuse me, the cup race. We have Austin Cindric taking stage one. Now stage two, Cody. I'm gonna let you talk about that because I know that you have something for that.
yeah, stage two. It was man that wreck at the end. That's kind of what we're just gonna hammer home here,
It
and
really was a very kind of an uneventful stage. I mean,
it really was.
you
It
know,
was very.
we had the incident with Josh Berry.
Yep.
You know, we had that, and that was maybe some other minor stuff that happened. Did the Kyle Busch wreck happen during that, or did that happen during stage
I
one?
believe that was stage two, but it
Yeah,
kind of just got glossed over
yeah,
because it was kind of honestly. I was at a Coastal baseball game. We had a doubleheader on Sunday. Brought the computer out so we could watch the race during the baseball games. And I look down, we're looking over at the scoreboard, and I look back, and Bush is just killed.
yeah,
The car is, I'm like,
yeah.
what happened?
Whole
What
front end is
happened?
just gone, not gone, but smashed in.
It was, it was a rough hit, man. And I believe that was Hocevar. He went off the nose of Hocevar.
Yep.
He got a push for, man, Carson had a hell of a day. Went from, pushing guys to the wind to putting him in the wall.
Yeah.
I wonder if Kyle still would wear the host of our hat if he gave it to him.
That'd be funny.
No, but it was. You get to the big accident, and it was. If I can't even remember exactly how it started. I believe someone made a late move, got contact, got put in the wall, and then spun around. It honestly looked very similar to the Daytona accident.
Yeah.
The big one at the end of Daytona where he got spun down the middle. That was a Denny and Bell. No, that was a different one. I'm gonna stop trying to remember what happened last week. But it kind of looked very similar. You just kind of start spinning, and then it continues to pile up from there. Definitely not as many cars involved in this one, but it ends stage two, gets us, and I'm as the Bowman guy. I'm gonna just throw this out there because I was very upset about it. Why can't we just not wreck Bowman for 1 week? Why must it happen so often?
Cue the
It
picture.
Cue the picture. I hate that stupid picture. I the way that this happens. Bowman is riding in the middle. The spin starts in front of him. He has plenty of room, and I'm like, perfect. We'll be fine. He can get through this. And then next thing I know, Connor Zilic is full gas into the back of Bowman, and now he's spinning. And I'm like, oh, they showed the replay. I was so mad. And at the end of the day, I said this for Austin Hill. It's a racing incident. It's not like Connor Zilic is out there just purposely driving into the back of people. But it's so frustrating when it's always your driver every single time. But I digress. It hopefully it starts going better for us Bowman fans, but it is what it is. But yeah, that wreck, I honestly I think that kind of kick-started the final stage when
Yeah.
that accident happened. There obviously, that brings in a lot of guys, trying to come from behind, go towards the front. But you end stage two with that. You come to start stage three, and stage three just completely picked up the pace. Like the racing was just incredible. And I said this about the Truck Series as well. Truck Series has delivered some incredible races. Atlanta as a whole is some of the best racing on the schedule. And I know we talked about this in the preview. It is so incredible to watch. The way that these drivers get their runs and then figuring out where to go with those runs. It's just something that you don't truly get from any other track. Like that drafting style, but not totally being a super speedway where you have to rely on it, but you can just use that to get your runs. And it literally is just like watching the slingshot scene from Talladega Nights. I almost said Daytona. Watching that scene, like you just back up to the guy and you get such a big run, especially if you're running the high line. Because the bottom lane there, we saw this all day. No one was truly able to run the bottom line. If you're down there, you could make it work for a little bit. You could use it to complete a pass. But if you're stuck on the bottom, you're going to get passed by those guys with the momentum on top. Like, it's going to happen. But being able to know when to take those runs and how to take them is just, it's so awesome to watch. And Atlanta gives the best of that. Now, talking about runs and where to take them, where this is going to lead us back to Carson Hocevar. Because I want to make sure we talk about this. That move towards the end of the race, I don't know. Being aggressive is one thing. Being aggressive is one thing where you're gonna just go through and you're gonna shoot a gap. Because I have no issue with shooting a gap. We talked about this with Denny last week at Daytona. Allgaier left the gap, Denny shot it, and then Allgaier blocked too late. This one, on the other hand, did Bell leave that gap? Yeah, but I think that's a little too much of an aggressive move.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's any real reason to make that move at the time that he did. And, I still like Hocevar. It's not like I'm out here saying, oh, this guy ruined the race. Like, what a dumb move. Like, I can totally understand why, why we're making that move. But I just don't think it was the right time. I think it would have benefited him much more to just give the 20 the push and try and push the guy out front. But, getting down to crunch time, like end of the race, I also understand why he would make that decision. Just unfortunately, we wouldn't be talking about this if it doesn't work, if it works out. If he makes that move, everyone's like, oh my God, what a move. But it just didn't work out that way. And, set us up for another great finish.
Yep.
Not
exactly.
that we wouldn't expect that from Atlanta, but another incredible finish. The racing was just amazing. And I can't overstate that enough, how great this race was. Like, if you go onto Twitter, anyone on NASCAR Twitter knows that Jeff Gluck makes a post after every race talking about, was this a good race? 93% said that this was a good race, and they are correct.
They're very correct.
This race, first off, those 7% that said it was a bad race or it wasn't a good race, we'll put it that way. What did you watch?
Yeah.
What were you watching? Because this was genuinely one of the best races we've seen. Like, this first two races to start the season have just been incredible from a fan perspective.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you genuinely couldn't ask for anything more coming from these drivers. And these teams, the way that they're handling runs, the way that they're racing each other, like, we are getting racing that we haven't seen the sport in a long time, at least to this high of a level. And they are making it work every week. And I can only imagine how well this is going to go. But you get to the finish, and who else but Tyler Reddick? Do I know how he got there? Do I have any idea how he maintained the spot that he did with missing a fender? He's missing this part right here on my wall. He was missing, didn't have it, and was able to win back-to-back and win Atlanta.
Yeah, and that was the big thing they said on the broadcast too, is they're like, you don't want to be behind Tyler Reddick.
No.
Because he does not have a fender. He's going to be slower than everybody else in the field. it would have been crazy to see, Christopher Bell go back to back.
Oh
But of
yeah,
course, we didn't get that. But yeah, how he ended up there was insane. I mean, and it wasn't like he was up there. I mean, when they had the restart with Bell being when they had the when they had the restart with Bell and his wreck, I mean, that allowed him to get in the position that he was in.
oh
Obviously,
absolutely.
it got shuffled up a little bit, but that didn't matter because the yellow came out when he, I believe, was in second or third.
Yep.
But it was, I mean, it was an insane finish in terms of, like you said, the actual product that we've had on the track. This is very reminiscent to me of 3 years ago when was I think believe it was Stenhouse won the Daytona 500 or whoever won
Uh,
it. We had two. Daytona was a little bit of a wreck fest that year, but we had two very good races to start the year, and it's awesome. It's great. I love how well the repave at Atlanta has gone. I wish it would have gone this well at Kentucky. That'd be sick. If they would have just turned that into a drafting track up there, that would have been amazing.
there's still
But
time. There's still time,
there
people.
is still time,
There's
but
still time. Please.
there's time to do it. I feel like with the way that this generation of cars runs, that speedway would work so well now.
I genuinely do think that.
Like
I'm
it would
very
work.
biased on this, but
I
genuinely,
mean,
like the way
we've
that
seen
things have
Texas,
gone.
like the repave at Texas hasn't gone very well, but the last few races after they've gotten into the groove have gotten really well
We're
at
very
Texas.
good.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's very similar what they did at Texas and what they did at Kentucky. And you know, who knows? I don't want to talk
Yeah,
about it.
that's yeah.
I don't want to talk about it. I'm gonna
That's a
cry.
conversation for another day. But yeah, just being able to win this race. Obviously, you win your second race in a row. That's big enough. But to be the first two of the season, I believe they said it was the first time since '09 with Matt Kenseth
Yep, I
or
believe so.
Kenseth, Matt
Kansas.
Kenseth. It's too late apparently, and it's only 8:30. But man, that's such an impressive feat. But not only being able to do it, but in the way he did it. Like I wouldn't say that he was really a front runner for this race. Obviously, you start on the pole with no qualifying, but I wouldn't say that Reddick was a guy that we talked about much during the actual race.
Not really.
Like you had Butta. I can't talk today. Bubba, his teammate, running incredibly well. You've got Byron up towards the front there for a little bit. It was honestly a very Chevy heavy top 10, top five. Like Larson had a great day. Uh, like I said, Byron had a good day. Chase was up towards the front.
You also
The
had
only
you had SVG up there too in a
Yeah,
Chevy.
he was running top five a lot of the time, especially towards the end. Like the Chevys came to play today, and I will say, I did not expect that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a second when we talk about our pick'ems. But genuinely, just did not see that coming. I, I can't say that I did, but shout out to the Chevys. But at the end of the day, Toyota is right back in victory lane. Michael Jordan gets another win, and man,
And
this
Tyler
could be their
Reddick.
year.
It could
This
be
could be their year.
and Tyler Reddick with the just the pure amount of points he is getting with now the format that we are in.
Yeah,
I'm
he's got
not
a
saying that he's
40-point lead.
guaranteed a playoff spot, but if he gets another win, he's pretty much
Oh,
like
yeah,
just
absolutely.
barring it just an absolute just massive collapse. He is pretty much already locked into the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't see a world where he does bad enough going forward
No, not at
where
all.
that becomes an issue. Like, don't get me wrong, every driver can have their slumps and their downtimes, but starting the season off with 2 wins, his teammates just as fast. Like, we're this could be their year. Like 1000%. I don't want to jinx anybody or do anything like that, but Reddick, 2 races in, has a 40-point gap, and he only has 15 stage points
Yeah,
through to
that's
which like
nuts.
you've got guys with Ryan Blaney has 30 stage points. So you've got guys with Bubba Wallace has 29, Chase Elliott 22, Hocevar 21, and Reddick only has 15 stage points, but a 40-point lead. You could not ask, you could not beg for a better start for Tyler Reddick, and
Oh yeah.
sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit.
Sky is indeed the limit. Cody, do you have anything else to end this off on?
Not really, man. I don't want to reiterate again, but just this was a great race. If you didn't get to watch it, I would absolutely recommend finding the replay. Like any race, it can slow down a little bit during the middle, but you're always at guaranteed. Atlanta just guarantees such a great race at the end of the day, especially when things start ramping up, kind of like Daytona last week. It got pretty slow there in the second, but once we got going in the third and everyone's pushing, it was an incredible race, and this was no different. Now, actually, let me ask you first. Do you have anything that you want to say about the race?
I do
Get into
not.
the pick'ems?
Just Atlanta. Atlanta has produced just great races, and I'm very happy that we have this back to back that we have to start the year, because it always makes for a
Absolutely.
great start to the year. And now, looking into the future, we're going to Coda. We are
Oh yeah,
going to Coda,
which
a completely different track, a track that you probably will see somebody like SVG win. Let's just be honest with ourselves.
Christopher
I
Belch, Tyler Reddick.
I think
Tyler
I
Reddick
think
could go three.
I think yeah, no, he definitely could. I think for pick'ems at road courses that SVG should be illegal, but we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that because I was honestly thinking about it earlier. I was considering it, but we'll talk about that. But talking about Pickham's updated scores last week for Atlanta, Zach took Brad Keselowski, I took Chris Buescher, and nothing happened. It was a
Nothing happened.
tie. Both drivers scored 22 points this week.
Yep.
So we are still have a 9 point gap. I have 58 points. Zach, you have 49. And
It's just
just
crazy
I
that
want to
the exact same.
the exact same amount of points. I think they finished 2 spots apart. Like
I
it
believe
was
so.
nothing. But this is what I want to talk about with that now, and this won't take very long. But what happened? What happened to the Fords?
I don't know. I mean,
Just
it
did not show up. Did not.
no. I mean, and it was so weird. I mean, maybe because it was. I think the biggest thing that hurt the Fords was the qualifying.
It
It
must
was
have.
that
It must have.
it was that lack of qualifying, because what that did is one thing about Fords is, especially at these super speedways, is usually in qualifying they're not the quickest. There are some
Yeah.
times, I believe it was Joey Logano at Atlanta last year, he pretty much sweeped everything except for the actual race
Yep.
part of it. But you look at the Fords, they usually won't come out very strong, but then they'll adjust and they work really well together as a team and as a manufacturer, and then they will just kill the qualifying and they will kill the race. And I think that's what hurt them. You know, it sucks. This is 100% the worst super speedway that Ford as a collective group has had in a very long time. Now, it doesn't help that guys like Joey Logano definitely that wrecked out at the end that could have been
Yeah.
there. It doesn't help that Austin Cindric got taken out. It doesn't help that Josh Berry, the guy who was the defending champion of this race, got knocked out in wrecks. But just purely by results, this is the worst super speedway race that Ford has had since I can remember.
Except for the top finishing Ford of the day, Zane Smith.
Dude, he's killing it. He is killing
That's
it.
my boy. That's my boy. Absolutely love that for him, man. But, as you said, Fords were just not it today. We were very confident saying that the Fords were going to have a good day because all indicators pointed towards that. Like, if you would have told me that the Fords were going to be a non-factor, essentially, I wouldn't have believed you. I would not have
Yeah,
believed you.
100%.
If you told me that the Chevys were going to be the front runners, I wouldn't have been flabbergasted. Like, it would have made sense. Chase Elliott's won this race before. Obviously, Hocevar. You've had LaJoy in the 7 when he almost won it that one time. The Chevys run well here, but the Fords doing nothing is just. There really was no predicting that. But at the end of the day, for our pick'ems, we're good competition. Yeah, because I really thought that
Yeah, it
one of
really
us
is.
was gonna. I really thought that one of us was gonna have like a good day. Uh, Honestly, both of us. I thought both were gonna like. I thought these two drivers were gonna be able to kill it, and we just didn't get that. But still, only a 9 point gap, all to play for, and we are only 2 weeks in.
Yeah.
Like, especially going through two drafting tracks where it's very easy to get caught up in an accident, get almost no points. We haven't had that issue yet.
We have not.
None of us
We
have run
have
into
not.
no DNFs. None of us have run into anything. So, keeping those fingers crossed that we can keep that going. Absolutely, it's gonna be. God, I love doing this so much. It's so nice to. It's also just watching the race, having someone else to look at. Be like,
Exactly.
check on my. It's like when you place a bet, you like care too much about this one specific driver. Like, it gives you other people to look at, and it's just. I'm having a blast, man.
Yeah,
Can't
I am
wait to
too.
keep it going.
I am too. But Cody, I think we've covered everything we need to cover here for our, review of the 2025 Atlanta. 2026. It's 2026.
Let's say catch up, dude.
We are dang. It's late too, Cody. I was up at 6 a.m. yesterday,
I
pre-gaming
felt
for
you
the
there.
hockey game.
I was up
So
at 6 a.m. this morning.
yeah, yeah. So I got no sleep, but full day of work, full workout. But Cody, this has been our review of the fall or spring, whatever it is, spring Atlanta race for the
Spring
2026 NASCAR season. Thank you guys. You all have a blessed day. Definitely leave any likes, comments, anything like that below. We'd love to hear from you guys. You have a good rest of your day.